Can the Packers and the Niners playoff hopes on Sunday, Key?
The Packers are certainly going to pop them, I believe. I think they're going to take care of business against the 49ers and end their playoff hopes. And the only reason why they're going to end them because the next week they got Buffalo. So you got two toughies back-to-back. You on the road. You've not shown us this year that you are prepared, ready to go for the challenge with these tough teams.
Yeah.
Kansas City rolled you up, folded you up, sent you packing. Seattle just did the same sort of kind of thing at the end of the day. Geno Smith put them to sleep. They, with Christian McCaffrey in the lineup, we all thought that was going to be such a big difference, and that's not the case. So when I start to look at the rest of the remainder of the schedule, you look and you say, okay, they lose to Seattle, Green Bay. I got them losing. It's going to be cold. First of all, it's a 4 o'clock start, 4:30 start. So by the time you get the second half, temperatures are going to dip even more on you. And then you got the Buffalo Bills in Buffalo, so you already know that's going to be cold. So you got 2 back-to-back East Coast games in the cold. Now, whether or not you stand on the East Coast, I have no idea, or are you traveling back?
They have Chicago.
They have Chicago.
They're going to stay out there.
No, if they're going to stay, they go Green Bay, Buffalo, or they going to stay on the East Coast instead of come all the way back to the West Coast and then go all the way back. Like, what's the travel plans going to be? And that game in Buffalo is late at night in the second half. The second half kickoff going to be at 10 o'clock, second half kickoff. So I just think that in terms of what they are right now, they're a little banged up, right? And Brock Purdy struggled a little bit to some degree without having his weapons at his full disposal. So I think they ultimately playoff hopes are going to be really, really slim. And if they lose these next 2 games, they're going to be out.
Yeah, they just haven't shown me enough throughout any consistency. They haven't have a quality win, and I'm going to say this every day, all week, about teams who are on the border. You are what your records say you are. You're an average team. You haven't played consistently well, and you don't have a signature win. And if you want to consider the Tampa Bay Buccaneers a signature win, go ahead. But the San Francisco Niners, I think their window is closing. I think it doesn't. If they lose to Green Bay, it doesn't end their season or shut the lights off. But I'm telling you what, like he said earlier, it dims those lights. Those lights are going to dim. And you can all but think that they don't have a shot.
Yeah, I don't think that the Niners are making the playoffs this year. I don't see them winning this game. I think that the Packers, especially as you mentioned, they are on the road at the Packers. They haven't shown any reason for us to have real faith in them. They haven't been consistent all season long. I don't think they're a good team this year.
No.
It's not that they don't have good players. They have a lot of the players that they had last year. They have great coaching. They're a great organization. Sometimes you just have down years for whatever the reason is. They've obviously had a lot of injuries. I mean, Brandon Ayuk, Hargrave, Christian McCaffrey missed the first 8 games, Elijah Mitchell, Drake Greenlaw, Hufanga. They've had Debo in and out. They've had George Kittle in and out. So they're dealing with a lot of injuries. Brock Purdy's a little banged up.
Yep.
So is the rest of the league. Everybody has to deal with injuries, and everyone has been dealing with injuries all season long. I don't know that that's an excuse, but it could be a reason, and maybe it means more to them than to other teams. I don't know. But
I mean, when you look at the teams that they lost to, all the games in one possession except Kansas City. The problem is you got losses, and you piling them up within the division as well.
Yeah, the divisional losses are killing them right now.
The divisional losses
I don't pay so much
killing
attention to it being one-possession games. Most games in the NFL are one-possession games. If you're winning games by blowouts, you are either a completely super dominant team like they were last year, or you're playing teams that are haven't lost their starting quarterback or their seasons are already over. So I expect these games to be one-possession games. I mean, the Packers are only favored by 1.5 in this game at home. So these games are supposed to be tight, especially down the stretch. Like, you're fighting for playoff spots. They're supposed to be competitive. They usually are close games. But for me, they just haven't looked like the Niners all season. They haven't had the identity that they've had. Maybe it's because they didn't have Christian McCaffrey for the first 8 games. I don't know. But at this point in the season, none of that matters. Yeah. The only thing that matters right now is that you get this win on Sunday to keep your season alive. And we're not the only ones discussing the Niners' struggles. Kyle Shanahan gave his thoughts about Brock Purdy's performance this season.
Brock Purdy has played the same exact way that he played a year ago, except, like Coach Shanahan is saying, the circumstances are just a little bit different because of the injuries and things of that nature. Think about this. 288 and 278. Is that not the same? Literally. It's the same.
I'm around the same ballpark.
It's the same. It's 10 yards.
Yeah, for sure.
20 and 17. That's the same.
That's not a big drop off.
It's the same. 20 and 17 touchdowns is the same. Okay, the wins is 5 and 7. It's a little bit different when you look at the wins. You got 2 more last year at this time than you had, but a lot of that is because of the injuries, and they ran into a few buzzsaws. That's all.
I mean,
he is playing the exact same. I swear to you, he is.
To me, the difference is lying in the passing touchdowns from last year to this year, which is the difference is 5. So he has 5 more. Through the first 10 games last year, he had 18 passing touchdowns. This year, he has 13. He had 5 interceptions. This year, he has 8.
Well, I'm looking at his total touchdowns.
Right.
I can't separate.
But how they're playing, right?
It's about how they play.
Looks different. I don't think that the issue that I have with Brock Purdy is, and I don't think that Brock Purdy is a bad quarterback. I think he's obviously shown the ability to play at a very, very, very high level. And he has played in the biggest game that you can play in. The question with Brock Purdy going into this year was, do you pay him at the top of the market when it's time to pay him? And this is the year that he's supposed to show that he's the guy to get paid.
I was never going to pay him at the top, though.
But the conversation about Brock Purdy and how he would be paid is contingent a lot on right. It's contingent a lot on the idea of paying somebody at the top of the level, top of the market, a quarterback, one position, is that when you have injuries, you can maintain the same level.
Exactly.
So if he's playing at the same level that he played last year, then you are directly saying that he ain't the reason that you're winning. Because if he's playing the same that he played last year, Shanahan's saying it, you're saying it, and they're not winning because you're having injuries, then the pieces around him are the reason that you're winning, which has been the conversation around Brock Purdy since he came into the league. Is it Brock Purdy or is it the pieces around him? And when you pay one player that much money, you're not going to be able to keep all those pieces around him.
It's the quarterback position. Much like in Paul's game many years ago, it was about the big.
Right.
The big was going to get the money. The point guard wasn't getting the money. The big was getting the money. The dude you can down low. The quarterback position is such that if you're any good at the quarterback spot, regardless, they're going to pay you.
Yeah. And Brock Purdy has far exceeded his deal.
That doesn't mean he has to be.
He deserves to be paid, and I think he will be the quarterback of the future for the Niners. But if you are saying that he's played the same that he's played last year, and Shanahan is saying that he's played the same as he played last year, X equals ZY,
yeah, but he's
then the thing that you are missing is the players around you.
You're missing players around you.
Everybody has injuries. If you are the star, you're supposed to be able to elevate the team without injury.
No, he was defending him early in the year.
No, because great players still need help.
Yeah, they do need help. He still has a lot of help.
Well, I mean,
he still got a lot of help.
Those dudes is missing, but those dudes is missing games that they was losing. Now they come back, they lose on a hope and a prayer to Seattle at the end of the game on a walk-off on the defensive side of the ball. Had nothing to do with him. He wasn't out there stopping the quarterback from scrambling into the front end zone on the left side. That wasn't Brock Purdy. What were you about to say, Paul?
But if he's good with the weapons he has, offseason comes, you sign Purdy, you're probably not going to be able to retain Debo.
Well, I don't think they ever planned on retaining Debo.
Yeah, but the thing is, if he's good with these players and you retain Purdy and you don't have these players, where does that leave San Francisco? He's answered the questions that we have when we was like, can he play, he's good in the system. Can he play without the great players around him? Well, he's average with just the
I don't know why y'all keep saying he's the same guy. He's literally doing the same
thing. This is not the same for me. You're looking at the numbers. His passing rating, you know what his passing rating was?
They're not the same record because they're missing. It's a different circumstances. This is what Coach is saying. The defense did not stop. Well, first of all, the defense is not the same as it was a year ago.
Sure,
that's number one.
He only plays one side of the ball.
He only plays one side of the ball. We know what Steve Wilkes was able to have them as a top 6-7 defense in the league. Now they're in the middle to the back end of the middle of the league on defense right now. That's the reality of it.
My question is, why don't we fire up this excuse machine for other quarterbacks?
We're not firing it up. We're not firing it up.
I mean, the thing is smoking from all of it. Like, everybody deals with injuries. It sucks. You want to see people at full capacity, and they have been. And last year was a big reason why they were successful, because they were mostly healthy. But and again, Brock Purdy is a good quarterback. Brock Purdy will get paid. Brock Purdy will be the franchise starter for the San Francisco 49ers next year. But the question was, does he need all of the pieces? And clearly the answer is yes. If Kyle Shanahan is telling me he plays the same,
needs all the pieces,
then we have to say that everybody is good and nobody needs to elevate and nobody needs to overcome anything. It's not their fault. They don't have all the pieces, Paul.
Stop.
A real franchise quarterback
I can't with you
can help you weather a storm when you're missing pieces. Like, think about this, though.
I wish.
Keith, think about this. If you take Brock Purdy out of Shanahan's offense,
yes,
and you take these weapons and you put them on any other team,
I don't know what that's going to look like. I don't know.
Okay,
I don't know that.
Let's say you take Lamar. You take Lamar and you put him on San Francisco.
We can't do that
without
though.
Those weapons. What do you think? Like, you think they'll be better?
I don't think we can do that. But we do know that the rosters that, say, Lamar Jackson has had over the past couple of years are not completely comparable to what he's had in San Francisco. And we've seen what Lamar Jackson has done in those situations.
They have less than talented
we don't talk
rosters.
about how like it's Dak's fault. Like, it's okay, Dak, they weren't playing well, the offense wasn't playing well. Yeah, okay, they don't have a running game. None of that matters. You just got paid, go win games. Like, I'm with all of it. I'm just saying that if he's the same,
do you think, let me ask you
and he looks the same, and they're the same, and the circumstances are different, then the answer is that. Like, the answer is the pieces around him.
When you say we never give these other quarterbacks, problems or talk negative about other quarterbacks.
No, we do. What I'm asking is why don't we have that energy here? We do put wins and losses at the feet of franchise quarterbacks. We do put wins and losses, whether people are there, whether they are available, whether they have a good roster, whether they don't have a good roster, whether they have injuries, whether they don't have injuries. It still comes down to the franchise quarterback being able to get it done. Maybe you won't be as good as we expected you to be as a team as a whole, but if you're saying is you're playing the exact same way and you are statistically the same, and the question was, is it all Brock Purdy or is it more the pieces around him? Then the answer has to be it was more the pieces around him, because they don't look like the same team and they might not make the playoffs.
But the circumstances are completely different than they were over the last 2 years.
I agree.
And so, but he individually is still doing the same thing.
But they don't need him to do the same thing. They need him to be better.
How much better you want him to be? Like, how much better do you honestly want him to be?
I want him to get wins. At the end of the day,
But if I'm throwing,
if we're talking about these are one possession games,
but Paul,
one possession games,
but Paul,
who is that on?
But Paul, we'll just go to your. I'll go to your sport.
I'm looking at all one possession games.
I'll go to your sport real quick.
Yeah,
real quick. If you knock down a shot, and then we go to the other end, and you not on the guy in the corner, and I kick to the dude in the corner, and he knocked down the three, and they win the game, is that your fault?
I got to score more.
Oh, God.
I got to knock down more shots.
He doesn't play defense. He can't stop Geno Smith from dropping back, seeing an opening, and taking it.
I know, but like you threw for 150 versus Seattle.
Yes,
like, you have 17 points.
But if I'm throwing you the ball, if I'm throwing that guy the ball, and that guy is dropping
in week 11, you score 17 points. You only score 17 points in week 2 in a loss. Like, at some point, you should be getting better. You should be carrying this offense. You should be comfortable on the offense.
So let's say the offense as a whole needs to be better.
The offense is letting them down.
And the defense has got to get...
losses, 17, 18, 23 to 24. In their wins, I see 30, 36, 30, 32. So what's letting them down? The offense.
Now, I'm not going to say that.
Debo plays in the offense, and he hasn't been a major factor in the Niners' offense, and talked about how frustrating this season has been.
Because of the offense failing them. Because of the offense failing them. You know what I'm saying?
No.
The defense gave up 20 points to the Seahawks. The defense gave up 20 points, and it was a last
You do understand that's too many.
They can win. They can beat a team scoring 20 points.
That's too many.
20 points.
There's too many.
When San Francisco has the weapons to score 28 to 30 points a night.
If we can't score 21, don't give them 20.
What are they capable of this year?
What is this?
I think if anything, they capable.
28
I
points.
think if anything, they get past this Green Bay Buffalo kind of little stretch a little bit. A wild card home, one and done. I don't see them as I saw them at the beginning of the season as a team that could go to the Super Bowl because Minnesota's and the Lions and the Green Bay Packers and all of those type of teams in the NFC certainly look a whole lot better than them. You know.
I'm seeing a team that's window is finally closed.
Well, that may be true for the Super Bowl, of course.
I think it's just closed, period. I don't think they make the playoffs. I think this is a team who's lost their confidence. They don't have the same aura they had in years past. People are looking at them like, hey, we can
Nobody's scared of them anymore.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. They don't have the same aura. It's like, oh, we can get them. The way Geno just walked downfield and just like, man.
Well, that was on Brock Purdy. He had to stop. He should have jumped out in the field and stopped him.
You know what I'm saying?
I mean, okay, we'll remember this. It's not Brock Purdy's fault.
Yeah, come on, man.
It's not going to be Josh's fault or Mahomes' fault. Or Lamar's fault. You know,
y'all did the same thing. Y'all did the same thing to Jalen Hurts.
Like a couple weeks ago, you was like Brock Purdy is right in that tier, that 5, 6, 7.
He's a good.
He's
The difference with Jalen Hurts last year was Jalen was not playing at the same level that he played the year before. Jalen was not.
No, he wasn't.
No. If Jalen was playing at the same level, right, of course, but he also turned the ball over a lot.
Yeah.
And if he was playing at the same level that he was last year and the defense was bad, then maybe we would say, okay, well, it was just, and they were still losing. Okay, maybe it was just the defense.
But the defense was bad.
Defense was bad,
The defense was bad. They couldn't run the ball. The receivers was in and out of the lineup. They was hurt. Everything.
Yeah.
And that's why they went through.
We talked about all of it. But Jalen also got dragged. Like, people talk bad about Jalen. They said they wrong to pay him. Was he not the franchise quarterback? Was it a mistake? Anybody saying that about Brock? It's all good. Subscribe here to get the latest from Speak, and go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.